game to go in the 2023 Super League season. What a season it has been. The Catalan Dragons will take on the Wigan Warriors next Saturday, live on Sky Sports. We will be there for what is sure to be a great game. First against second, it's the way that it should be. But before we get to the grand final, we will be looking at that in Super League Raw Weekly on Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, live on the Facebook forum. Don't you worry about that. Let's get into these semi-finals. And what a game it was to kickstart the semi-final weekend. That game in Perpignan. Yes, St. Helens against the Catalan Dragons. What a match it was. It was proper playoff rugby league, wasn't it? Tight, it was tense, it was brutal in defence. I absolutely loved it. There was errors aplenty. I mean, St. Helens, they've got away with it for quite a few weeks, haven't they? They've not really been good at execution. Yes, I think they bombed a few chances against Warrington Wolves, but of course they didn't pay the price for that. They got the win. I think that in both games, actually. I've seen Saints time and time again over the last 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 weeks, where they've been in complete and utter control of a game or really putting their foot down and not being able to convert, pushing passes, knocking on at critical times. Lomax, I mean, we highlighted Lomax was a critical player. He had not one of his usual good games, it has to be said. St. Helens really were struggling in that match in terms of their execution. It was really poor. I mean, the same could be said for Catalan. They too were trying to push things as well, especially in the first half. They were both very nervous, both sides. But I have to say, we are going to get a new name on the trophy. Of course, the 4-year dominance of Super League by St. Helens is over, but by God, did they give it a proper fist, didn't they? Adam Kieran and kicking, a lot was talked about after the game in terms of the tactics of the Catalan Dragons. Of course, they went 2-0 up with a kick early doors, which is the right thing to do in playoff rugby league. Just get yourself ahead on the score sheet before, of course, Jack Welsby, that little bit of quality that was lacking at times in this game just came to the fore. You cannot stand off a player of the quality of Jack Welsby. You just cannot do it. They did. They allowed him to crab across the field, and there he was, Ronnie Hill, Will Hopoate, in his final appearance for St. Helens, going in for what was a very nice try indeed. And then for me came a really odd moment in the game. When Catalan got the penalty where they brought it back to 4-6, I was scratching my head. I didn't understand why they were going for that penalty. I thought that was the wrong move at the time. Little did I know. I mean, talk about playing to the full 80 minutes. Fair play to them for that. But I thought they should have carried on at that point. Clearly they didn't. They knocked over the 2. And then, of course, it comes to bite St. Helens again. At the start of the season, they have big disciplinary problems. And for me, there was no doubt about it. There was a lot holding down in this game. There really was. And I don't think Chris Kendall had any choice whatsoever to send Matty Lees for 10. I really don't. It looked sloppy. It looked poor. It looked like gamesmanship. And quite frankly, I think he got that right. And of course, that allowed Adam Kieran again to slot one over to make it 6 points apiece. And fair play to Kieran, because I thought his kicking on the night was really strong indeed. He didn't have a bad running game either, 120 metres from 13 carries in this game. He also had 8 tackle busts. I mean, what a performance from Adam Kieran as well of his goals in this game. I thought he had a really solid game, I must say. I thought Tom Johnston as well had a strong game. This wasn't about him scoring tries. This was about his work coming out of backfield, 133 metres from 21 carries. He did a lot of running in this game, did Johnston. And for me, he was well worthy of praise. I mean, no real forwards other than probably Takiaho had a game over 100 metres. I mean, most of the prop forwards were limited to minus 100 in this one. Such was the real brutal defence. Both defences were getting up. And I have to give credit as well to the Catalan Dragons in terms of their defence, in terms of their penalties. They did not concede any real penalty, well, no penalties of note in their own half to allow Saints to put 2 points over. Whereas Saints, of course, when they were giving penalties away, were offering up points to the Catalan Dragons. And in playoff rugby league, you've got to give credit to Catalan for that. Their discipline in defence, especially in their own half, was very good indeed. And of course, this game all came down to that wonderful moment on 78 minutes when Sam Tomkins rolls back the years. What a sensational try. If that's the last try Sam Tomkins ever scores in Super League, of course he'll want to score in the final next week. What a try to remember Sam by. He's been doing that all of his career. That little step, absolutely outstanding. The big don't argue to Curtis Sirenin. I mean, we're massive fans of Curtis Sirenin, but what a brilliant step. First of all, to go around Walmsley, then the fend for Sirenin. And I think, what I saw there was St. Helens players were pretty static. I think they expected Sirenin to win that battle. And when he didn't, Well, Sam was already past him and under the post and scoring the try. You've got to say Saints have given it their best shot. They went to Australia at the start of the year. That took a lot out of the tank, getting the World Club Championship, of course. They've come back. They've given a good shot. But bottom line is, I think most Saints fans will concede this has not been a season whereby you have hit those heights that maybe you have in other seasons, yet you've been thereabouts. I think there's a lot of concern going into next season as well. We'll discuss that in January, of course, in terms of their recruitment at this moment in time, especially when you see the bulking up that the Wigan Warriors are doing in looking at next year. And Kyle Amor himself was saying on Channel 4 that the good times are on the way to Wigan. Such has been their recruitment and the youth that's coming through. Is this now the turn of Wigan Warriors in terms of dominance? We'll have to wait and see on that. First things first, of course, they've got to get past the Catalan Dragons. The narrative's there, isn't it? Sam Tompkins against his former side, Adam Kieran playing against his future side. I mean, there's just so many narratives across this. It's going to be, for me, a fascinating game. The final game, of course, of Kai Pearce-Ball before he sets off for Australia. Outstanding stuff. But yeah, this semi-final, proper rugby league football on a knife edge. It was tense. I personally thought it was a great game. There's a lot of people, I mean, it can't be Brisbane Broncos against the Penrith Panthers every week. There's different ways of winning rugby league games. And normally, when it comes to playoff rugby league, they tend to be tight affairs like that. Real tussles. It's about discipline. It's about just getting the scoreboard ticking over. Let's be fair, Kevin Sinfield and Leeds made a living out of it, didn't they? That's what it was all about. It was a proper game of rugby league. And, it went down to the final 2 minutes. In a season like this, what a fitting way for a semi-final to go down to. Then we flip the coin and we go to today's game. Wigan Warriors taking on Hull KR, 42 points to 12. KR never, ever arrived at Wigan. I think they're still travelling there. And I don't want to be disrespectful. I think Hull KR this season have been outstanding, simply outstanding. To get to the Challenge Cup final was one thing. To then go, of course, and topple Leigh for fourth, I thought that showed exceptional character, I have to say. Then, of course, they beat Leigh in a really tight game last week. But quite frankly, they ran out of steam. Simple as that. Today, they ran out of steam. They came up against a Wigan Warriors side that have been running white hot now for best part of 10 rounds of Super League. In the last, their 10-game winning streak, I mean, the statistics are ridiculous. 357 points this team has scored. 357, only conceding 80. Only conceding 80 in 10 games of rugby league. And in there, they played Leigh twice. They played the Catalan Dragons. They played the Warrington Wolves. They played Hull KR twice. I mean, it's been an unbelievable effort from Matty Pete's team. It really has. They've been playing some great rugby league. And of course, for so long, the last few weeks, Abbas Miski's been on his incredible run. And what do you know? Liam Marshall pops up today and he scores his hat-trick. Well taken hat-trick as well. Harry Smith with the boot. He's been having real trouble with his kicking game all season. What do you know? 7 from 7 today. You just couldn't add him an even, albeit his drop goal. You might want to work on them for next week. But Harry Smith, absolutely bang at it. And, I can't argue with him getting the man of the match. I thought his kicks, both in play as well as his conversions, absolutely pinpoint today. So much of the tries have gone down the Abbas Miski wing in terms of wingers. Marshall, of course, today. And then, of course, the centres. It's been Wardle, hasn't it? And all of a sudden, up pops Toby King today for his try. And he took it really well. Jay Field, I mean, we hardly saw Bevan French today, really. And there's Field. And that's the beauty of Wigan, isn't it? If one of these two turn up, you've got a really good chance of winning. If both of them turn up, they're going to destroy a team. And today, it was the turn of Jai Field, who, again, should have probably have got himself a hat-trick today. He was trying to be selfless, push it out wide to Miski. Didn't quite work. But yeah, Wigan Warriors, for me, at this moment in time, playing some exceptional rugby league. The stats don't lie. They, for me, are the favourites, clear favourites going into the final. Nobody's surprised about that. Grand final winners, 357 points in 10 games, only 80 conceded. Wow, absolutely wow. However, we do know that Catalan have got it in their locker to upset Wigan. That's right. Remember, the Magic Weekend, that's where we're going. Oh, yeah, we've got to go back there, folks. That Magic Weekend when they absolutely destroyed Wigan from the moment it kicked off, right up until about 5 minutes to go when they allowed Wigan to get some sort of respectability back in the score of 22-46. And of course, Wigan fans will be saying, yeah, but we've beaten them 34-0 in Perpignan. You're quite right. What I'm trying to say here is that this game should be a classic next week. I think it's the right two teams to compete in this year's grand final. I'm a great believer that the ones who finish first should get all the plaudits. Winning the league leader shield for me is a massive achievement over 27 rounds of Super League rugby. And of course, if you're going to have a final, surely it's got to be that team that finishes second, and it's turned out that way. So I'm personally delighted that the first and second team in the league are going to be competing for that final next week. And, try and pick a winner there. I mean, like I say, if the Catalan Dragons turn up for that, wow, just wow. But yeah, really disappointing game at the DW Stadium. I have to salute Willie Peters and his team. I think they've shown incredible character this year. It's been a real bit, from the outside looking in, the last 2 seasons now, KR are building. Really, really building. And before you black and white fans out there start taking the mickey out of them, guys, you would love to be in their shoes. They're a team that are going places. They're building again next season, their acquisitions. So I, for one, I'm not going to start slating Hull KR. Yes, they've got beaten and beaten very, very easily today. They didn't turn up. Nothing went well. Tom Opachik had an absolute shocker. Brad Schneider, after what he's been doing for KR, not at the races today. But the bottom line is, it was what it was. Wigan are a quality side. They deserve to be in the final. Hull KR, you have supplied us with so much entertainment this season. Well, I, for one, have really enjoyed seeing you progress. And I think next year you'll be better again for it. What a season 2024 should be. Whoa. But anyway, first things first, we've got to get through the Super League Grand Final this Saturday, kick-off 6 o'clock. If you can't be there, it starts on 5 o'clock on Sky. I will be there. We'll be in the Piccadilly Tap. Come and join us. We'll be having a couple of beers. Super League Raw in the Piccadilly Tap, right outside Piccadilly train station in Manchester. Come and join us for a few fruities as we get ready for the grand final. And let's hope we see some exceptional tries that we've seen throughout the season. Let's hope for a Brisbane Broncos, Penrith Panther, arm wrestle, tussle, seesaw contest. Oh, that would be a fitting way, wouldn't it? Please, 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 match review panel, do not go over these two games with a microscope. Let's get the best sides on the field. Let them do battle. Let the gladiators get into that arena and show us what Super League can produce on the grandest stage of all, the Theatre of Dreams, Manchester, 6 o'clock. We'll be back for In the Sheds, post the grand final. Join us this Tuesday, 8 o'clock, Super League Raw Fans Forum Facebook page. That's right, for Super League Raw Weekly, where we will look back on these semi-finals in great detail, as well as look forward to that final at Old Trafford, Manchester. You don't want to miss it, folks. Well, hope you enjoyed another edition of In the Sheds. What's your thoughts been on these two semi-finals? Are they the right teams to be playing in it? Were you disappointed today in Hull KR? And are you, going to do what I do and give Saints all the credit in the world? Well done, Saints. You've been great champions for 4 years, but your time now is over. We're going to get a new name on the trophy in 2023, but which one is it going to be? We'll see you next time on In the Sheds.